Hey everybody, this is Sharon Delaney. I am a full-time realtor with Caldwell Banker in Panama City Beach, Florida. And today I have the Brogans with me. I've got, what was your names again? Phil and DeAnn.
Correct.
Phil and DeAnn Brogan. I've known them for years. Great folks. They live in Panama City Beach, Florida, and they own several investment properties in PCB and a couple other states, right? More South Florida.
East Coast, Colorado.
Kind of all over the place, things like, yeah. So they are investors, and they have created a business here in PCB, which is similar to a business that they had when they were in Colorado, managing their properties and other people's properties. And I thought it was really a great opportunity to get them together and explain it to you. So the name of the business is Emerald Coast Rental Inspectors. They're not a management company.
Nope.
They are not a full inspection company.
Nope.
So what exactly do you do?
So we're kind of a second set of eyes for homeowners that have rental property, investment property here, whether they self-manage or whether they have a management company, just to kind of go in on a periodic basis, scheduled basis, and check for issues. Kind of like when the guest walks in, the first impression. Just make sure it all looks good, everything's running properly, the AC is working. We'll do battery changes, but just to make sure it's a good guest experience is the main goal.
Okay, so give folks a little bit of background about how you started this business, how long you've been doing it, and kind of like what brought you to the area.
So we currently have 11 properties in 3 different states that we self-manage ourselves. And it's always kind of an issue whether we have cleaners obviously that are taking care of the property, but what is actually happening when we're not there? Are the cleaners doing the job that we expect them to do? The cleaners aren't really there for maintenance items, so just periodic maintenance, whether it's battery changes, air filter changes, just making sure it's all working properly. And so that's what we're doing. In Colorado, we had a management company that dealt strictly with short-term rentals. We had managed about 50 properties, pretty much all aspects of that. And so we've had 17,000 guest checkouts over the last 10 years. So we're pretty familiar with the whole guest check-in, check-out process. And we know the issues that come up with guests and with the properties themselves. And so we know what to look for to give a good guest experience.
So from my perspective, the need came from, for this type of business, came from basically the holes in the process from like what a management company does, the gaps from what a management company
Yes.
does and what somebody does if they manage property themselves. So when you buy an investment property, you can do one of 2 things. You can get a management company to manage the process for you. You pay them a percentage of your bookings. They get the guests, they check them in, they take care of any issues, they make sure the place is clean, and manages the guest experience. When you do that, I think the expectation a lot of people have is that as the owner, is that they are also the eyes for everything in your
Yes.
unit. Let's use a condo, for example. We're in a condo today out on the beach. It's really pretty out there. And that they're the eyes for everything. And they come in, they do this big detailed inspection. They look over everything. They let you as the owner know, because the majority of the time, the owners you don't live here. If you own a rental property, you live in another state, you may come once or twice a year, but sometimes you don't come at all. So you have really no knowledge of what's truly going on in your property. So the expectation is that the management company is handling that. But the reality is that what they're doing in between a guest checking in and a guest checking out is they're running in and making sure, is there enough towels?
Ready to go.
It's ready to go from a quick guest perspective. Is there enough towels? Are the sheets clean? Is the refrigerator clean? Is the air conditioning working? Does it smell okay? And then boom, we're out. And that's pretty much the scope of it. Now, the larger management companies will have supervisors, and their job is to go behind the housekeepers and check, right? But think about it this way. So you got one supervisor who's managing 50 units, 100 units.
Yeah, or more.
Or more. And so your particular property is going to get hit maybe once a month. I mean, it's going to round robin, right? And they're going to come in. And again, it's not going to be this big detailed checklist type of thing. They're mainly there to make sure that all the basic stuff is done. So they're overlooking, not necessarily overlooking, but they're not looking for the small little leak that might be under the sink. They're not looking for that the hot water heater may be having an issue, that the air filters are filthy, that there's not some lights coming on, that there's something broken. They're not looking at that stuff. They're looking at the basics. Is it clean enough? Is it stocked? I'm out. So this service is I would say an add-on service to protect not only you as the owner and your investment, because you've made the big investment to own a property in the beach, and also to manage the guest experience and what comes along with that. What is even potentially worse is when you self-manage, because now you are hiring, I promise I'm gonna let you talk.
Okay.
But I get on the roll with this because as a realtor, I see this every day, and it's very frustrating to see it, because I walk into these condos with my clients, and the condo has a leak, and it's got an issue with the showers leaking, and there's mildew, and it smells funky, and you think as a client looking at that property that's for sale that they're going to be interested in that? No. They don't want to take something like that on, because in their mind they're like, well, this is never taken care of in the first place.
And the guests have that same first impression.
And the guests have the same first impression. So you have a management company who you think is doing all this is to be done. In reality, that's not the case, and that's not really their job, honestly. So they have a certain criteria of stuff that they're responsible for. But when you self-manage, you're hiring the cleaner, and that cleaner just basically, wants to get out there and get it done. And they may see stuff, but they may forget to tell the owner. They may just bypass it or whatever. So you really don't have anyone else there to double check on your property, your investment, to make sure that it looks good. So give us kind of a overview of the type of services that you offer.
So we're going to come to your condo on a scheduled basis, check it pretty much from the front door out to the balcony. We're going to check for like paint chips, dirty floors, just the overall cleanliness of the whole unit, any kind of scuffing in the walls, any lights that don't work. On a semi-annual basis or so, we'll replace all the batteries in your remotes, your fire detectors, those kinds of things. We'll change your furnace filters probably every time if we're here once a month, because they get very dirty on the beach for some reason, but in a month or 60 days, they need to be changed for sure. We're going to check over the sinks for any kind of leaks. We're going to verify temperature and humidity to make sure your thermostat's working correctly. We're going to check your freezer and refrigerator, make sure the temperatures are set where they should be to keep things cold and frozen. Pretty much one end
Top
to
to
the
bottom.
other.
Like kind of if you were a home inspector coming in to do a full home inspection, but you're doing this on a routine basis because these properties are used on a routine basis.
Yes.
So they take a lot of wear and tear. So like Phil was saying, it's not just mechanical things, it's aesthetic things.
Dirty carpets, dirty furniture, broken furniture, rusty furniture on the balconies. Just anything, I guess, when a guest walks in and they see one thing wrong right away, they tend to spend the next 2 hours finding what else they can find wrong with your property.
Right.
And of course, then they automatically are asking for a refund because whatever doesn't work. And so we want them to walk in, have it look good, have it smell good, have no issues, have the refrigerator working, and have a great experience while they're at your condo.
Right. And the thing that owners thrive on and makes a difference in their business is all about reviews.
Yes.
Guest reviews. It's a struggle to get them because people a lot of times don't, leave a great review when it's great. They make sure they leave a review when something's bad. And when you look at these reviews, 9 times out of 10, it's because of one small little item. It could be from the oven wasn't working and they wanted to bake a cake. I don't know why you're making a cake at the beach, but you can.
They do.
Or the hot water heater was, maybe it's on its last leg, and so they couldn't take, the showers weren't hot enough. It could be that one thing that basically ruins their whole trip. And if it's on if they're here on a weekend type of thing and they call the management company or the owner, what's the likelihood of getting that fixed in a very quick period of time to kind of salvage that situation? It's very rare, actually. So,
and we can generally respond within an hour and take care of a lot of issues right away. We answer a phone 24 hours a day.
So you can not only do this preventative, but then if something comes up with one of your current clients, an issue comes up while there's a guest there and they need you, they can call you.
Yes.
I mean, that's a great service in itself to have. So this preventative is, sounds like you got at least a 50-point checklist. I'm sure it's bigger depending on the property that person has, but and then once you accumulate this, and I think you said the best way to do this is on a monthly basis.
Yes.
Because of all the in and out, the wear and the tear, the way things can change. You want, that's the whole point of it, is have a set of eyes on your property on a consistent basis.
Mm-hmm.
So what you do with are we gonna let DeAnn talk? Is she gonna say
I don't know.
anything? What do you want to talk about?
Well, I actually do kind of tend to hang out in the kitchen and go through the cupboards and make sure that the glasses and the plates and everything's not chipped, broken.
If you have a condo that sleeps 8 people and you only have 3 plates left and 2 glasses, that's an issue.
That's a problem.
And
That's
a lot of times the cleaners either won't notice or they just don't say anything, but it's not really their job to inventory that kind of stuff.
So that's cool. So you're doing not only inspection, but you're also looking at inventory things, looking at needs to be replaced, not fixing, but telling people about, let's say, this chair is broke or we need to do some stain cleaning. So once you get that report together, what do you do from that point?
So we use an online reporting, a third-party reporting company. We go through the checklist. Any issues are going to be noted and then a picture taken of whatever the issue was. We're going to send that to you by email. As soon as we leave, you'll get a copy of that. And it's up to you to decide, do you want to take care of this broken chair or do you want to throw it away, not have the chair, or whatever you want to do. If it's something like a licensed trade, like plumbing, electrical kind of an issue, we can arrange to have those services come in for you if you don't have someone you use already. We can let them in if you want us to be here while they're here. We can make sure they get the job done correctly. And then they'll bill you directly, so I don't take a cut of that. That's between you
Help
and
facilitate the process and stuff. So, and that's the thing too, when you have a management company that goes in and they'll do their, if you request it, a deep clean or extensive inspection, and then you as the owner gets that report, and typically that's only done in off season, once a year, which is way too long. Then a lot of times they don't have the resources to do all the things like Phil. Phil can fix a lot of it on his own, and then if he can't, because the trades they talked about, he's got the resources in line to contact them with you, and then he'll facilitate making sure that the work gets done and checking up on that for you. Whereas management company basically hands you a list and say, if you want to have some stuff shipped here, or if you want to get a trade out, you can, and you're in another state, you don't know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that's always up to the owner too, whether they want to do it. If they have someone already, that's fine.
Right.
It doesn't matter to us as long as it gets done.
One other thing I was going to say is also if you're having your cleaner do a deep clean, however often you want to do it. I mean, we can come in and make sure that it's being done, because we've had clients say it got deep cleaned.
Just last week it was deep cleaned and the floors are still.
So I mean, it's just going in and reassuring them that things are getting done if they're doing them.
Yeah, and I think again it comes down to, this is a huge value for owner. This is your investment. It's protecting your investment. It's making sure that your guests have a good experience, which then parlays into good reviews and return clients, or them recommending your property to somebody else. So you guys can inspect condos, townhomes, homes, big, any size, anytime.
I started as a home watch company in Colorado, kind of before I started the management part of the company. So I'm familiar with home watch in general. That's check on a home when no one's there, usually for a second homeowner. But I've been accredited with the national organizations. I actually wrote their testing material for their accreditation programs.
I didn't know you're that talented.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I'm familiar with both condos as well as single family homes, similar kind of issues, but not guest related necessarily with single family homes.
So I guess the big question people are going to have listening to this is, this all sounds fantastic, and my gosh, this really is something that's needed, is the cost. And this is where I think is really surprising. So let's just take, it's going to vary on the size and type of property and the size of property,
And
obviously,
location.
and location of the property. So if you have, like we're in Panama City Beach, if you got to go to Mexico's beach or you got to go to Destin, might be a little bit more expensive, but for a one bed, let's take for example, 1 bedroom, 1 bath condo, simple on the beach in PCB, what is the monthly cost for that?
Generally it's gonna start around $60 a month.
$60 a month
Yeah.
to do all that stuff. So you're talking about $720 a year
Yes.
to have preventative maintenance, eyes on your property, make sure it's in the best condition it can possibly be. I mean, that's like a no-brainer to me. And
And we can also facilitate the short-term rental process with the fire department, getting the inspections done and make sure you're all current on your paperwork and all that kind of stuff is up.
okay. So there's a lot of benefits to using a company like this. Even if you have a management company, they can coordinate and work with that management company to make sure that they can get in between guests. And if you're doing it on your own and renting, then they can, definitely be that big source of, just that feeling of comfort and guarantee that, your property is being taken care of. And that's the biggest thing. So anything else you guys can think of? So all their information has been scrolling across the bottom of this video, contacting Phil and DeAnn, so they can start a conversation with you, go out to your property, take a look, and give you some advice on what they can do particularly to help invest and secure your property and your investment. So thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.